Friends got to see a different side of Warnie. That's compared to the rest of us, of course. He did everything for his children, Jackson, Brooke and Summer, and he loved them dearly. They loved him back. Warnie had a charisma that lit up any room he walked into, and he was generous too. Joining me live is close friend Anne Peacock. Thanks so much for doing this today. It can't be easy.
Thank you, Laura. I think what you just said, and I'm sure you've said it so many times before, his world was his children. Those three wonderful humans meant more to him than anything else. His family. The other thing that was really, he said, aside from that aspect of his world, was the fundraising that he was able to do through his foundation, raising millions and millions of dollars for children less fortunate, children in need. And that's what he did. And through the foundation, he was able to give back to children. And whether it was just splints, body splints, or funding for children to go to America for assistance with their treatment, funding for materials to assist them with their bathroom, to refit the bathrooms, assistance dogs and horse riding. He was very keen on animal assistance for the children. The clowns at the Royal Children's Hospital, anything he could do for children, he pledged just his full honour and energy to, and that outcome was seen with the, as I said, millions and millions of dollars that he raised.
And when Warnie was with us, you still had to share him with the rest of Australia and sometimes the rest of the world. In death, you're having to do that as well. Does that make it easier or a little bit more difficult?
Wow. You're going to make me cry.
Sorry, Anne. There's been a lot of tears over the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely, Laura. But as I said, from a real close friend, and, you know, he'd always say, "Hey, AP, how are you going?" And then he'd go, "How are the boys?" Because family was so important to him, and it was always the second question. So, yes, it's difficult sharing such a huge heart, but that's the way he always centred his world. Yeah. He was just a huge character that shared himself with everyone. You know, we'd be out walking, we'd be at a bar, we'd be at a restaurant, we'd be walking to these places. "Mr. Warne, can I have an autograph?" "Shane, Shane, Shane." He'd always turn around no matter where he was and give his time to sign an autograph, to have a photograph. He was just giving of himself always.
How long have you known him? When did you first meet?
Probably about 26 years ago.
That's a fairly good friendship. A lot of stories, a lot of good times. I'm sure you shared a lot of tears and laughs together when he was alive.
I don't think we shared many tears, except of laughter.
Tears of laughter, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Often at his own expense, I hear too.
Yes. And never at anyone else's, at his, or laughing with me, or anyone else at their expense if it was them telling the story. Yeah. But such a warm, warm friend. And as I said, such a great father, a loving father. And he put his children above and beyond anyone else, and his family too.
He had such a good relationship with the media, at least here in Australia. I mean, journalists can be tough at times. The British tabloids are something else altogether. The family's been so generous since his death as well. But I feel compelled to ask you, after this state funeral, what do you think the family needs from the public?
I don't know, and I wouldn't want to speak on their behalf, but I think a little bit of time out would be, I mean, I know, having gone through my own father's death and state memorial only about 6 weeks ago, just some time on your own to reflect and just get away. But they've got a very solid group around them. So maybe just being with that close group is what they need. And Simone, their mother, has been just so strong for them as well.
Isn't she amazing?
She has been amazing, as has Keith and Bridget, their grandparents. So, you know, as I said, I wouldn't want to speak on behalf of the family in what they should do.
Yeah, of course.
But they are very strong people. But at some point in time, just having the focus away so they can be reflective in their own way, I would think, coming from my own personal way, that's a wonderful place to be.
You've had a tough couple of weeks, Anne, and we thank you for talking to us this morning. There are many things that Warnie has left us with, and I think number one on that list is to remember that we've only got one life. You've got to live it every day. Is that what you take from this as well?
Well, Shane did that.
He didn't leave anything left, did he?
He lived every day so full of joy and giving. So full of giving, and it's one thing to take away. Yes, live every day as if it were your last, and give back.
Can't wait to hear some of those stories, maybe off camera. And it's a pleasure to talk to you, and it's just really nice to talk about Warnie today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Laura.